Hello BookTube, my name is Elizabeth and welcome to Book Babble. Today I'm going to be doing my weekly wrap-ups for October week 1 and 2. I was super busy last week and I just didn't get a chance to record my weekly wrap-up, so I'm going to do it together, so let's just get started. At the end of my last weekly wrap-up, I was in the middle of reading Illuminated by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. I have my full review linked on my blog down below if you want to go and read it. But basically the gist is I thought that this had too much like scientific jargon in it that I didn't understand, and the world building was a little confusing. It just wasn't enough for me, or it wasn't clear enough for me, but I still really enjoyed it. The romance was super cute. The twist on the end was amazing, and the twist on the twist was even more amazing. But of course the thing that's most fascinating about this book is that it is written in the form of like emails and like confidential files and just like really cool stuff that you just don't see, like pages like this that are just, you know, just different and weird, and I really enjoyed that. It's really scary because it's like a 600-page book, but because of those like special pages where sometimes there's a little bit on there, sometimes it's a full page, you can get through it pretty quick. Like a 300 or 400-page book, it's not as scary as it looks. I think it took me like 2 or 3 days to get through this. So anyway, yes, I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. After Illuminate, I picked up The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslie Walton, and like I posted a status on Twitter like as soon as I got done reading this, and it said, "The fuck did I just read?" And that was basically my feelings throughout the whole book. I have a review of this as well on my blog that I will link down below if you want to see my full thoughts on it, but I really just feel like this is a book that you need to go in knowing basically the main character has wings, and that's all you really need to know. The first portion of the book, it's narrated by the main character, Ava Lavender, and she talks about her great-grandmother who was born in France, and then her grandmother, and then her mom, and it's just, you know, very interesting book. I liked seeing the aspect of, like, the historical aspect of it, kind of. You know, seeing her ancestry and knowing, you know, her great-grandmother and knowing her mother and her grandmother on a very personal level was interesting as well. The character development was really, really good. The, like, imagery and the symbolism was just beautiful. I think a lot of the symbolism like went over my head. I'm just not a literary thinker like that. If you can think about books like that literally, and not literally, literarily, you know, like literature literarily, I can't speak today, but if you can think of books like that and their plot and see the symbolism and see the imagery and all that stuff, I think you can really, really, really enjoy this book. For me, if I don't really sit down and think about it, it really goes over my head. So a lot of the book I was just really confused because it is an odd book. It's very oddly written, and I don't know, you just really have to read it to find out. But like, it was worth it. It was beautiful and weird, but in like a good way. I don't know. You just really have to read it. I gave this, I think, a 4 out of 5 stars. After Ava Lavender, I read Spinning Starlight by R.C. Lewis, and the reason why I picked up Spinning Starlight is because I read Stitching Snow by R.C. Lewis, which is a book she came out with last year, and that was a fairy tale retelling about it was a Snow White fairy tale retelling, and it was science fiction, and like this girl, she reminded me a lot of Cinder from the Luna Chronicles, but she was like a mechanic, and she had like 7 droids, so like the 7 dwarves. It was like, and her droids like helped her, and they all had different like weird names. It was really, really cute. I loved it. It blew me away. I was really surprised because I was really worried that I wasn't gonna be as impressed with Stitching Snow because it was like very similar to Cinder and it was just gonna like pale in comparison, but I was really surprised. I really loved it. So then when I heard that she was gonna come out with a companion series or a companion book to Stitching Snow, I just had to have it. So I requested Spinning Starlight from Netgalley, and I was approved for the arc, so thank you very much to Netgalley and the publisher. And this, it didn't have any of the same characters as Stitching Snow, and like I think it was just set in the same world, but this is the Wild Swans fairy tale retelling, which I had never read, but I went in and the concept of the story sounded really, really good. I wasn't as impressed as I wanted to be. Again, I think just the world building wasn't developed enough and or the world wasn't developed enough. There wasn't enough world building. The scientific jargon was just like kind of went over my head. It wasn't elaborated upon. It was just kind of like the writer assumed that you knew what some of this stuff was, or you understood it from context clues, but it just didn't click with me for some things on context clues. I think I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. I still did enjoy it. R.C. Lewis is an amazing writer. She writes beautifully. And then her first book, Stitching Snow, was amazing, but this book just kind of fell a little flat, and I was a little bummed, but I still think it's worth the read. If you want to pick up a scientific or science fiction fairy tale retelling, I highly recommend Stitching Snow. And then Spinning Starlight got a lot of really, really good reviews on Goodreads. It just fell a little flat for me. I guess I was expecting a lot more than what I got. Maybe it was just my high expectations, but I still really enjoyed it enough to give it a 3 out of 5 stars. So it just had a couple of downfalls, but it was still really good. At the moment, I am reading The Storm by Virginia Bergin, and The Storm is the sequel to The Rain. It's called The Rain in the UK, but it's called H2O in the US. And right now I am in the middle of reading the sequel to H2O by Virginia Bergin. It is called H2O in the US, but it's called The Rain in the UK. And I'm reading the sequel, which is called The Storm. And if you guys have not seen my review of H2O on my blog, I'll link that down below as well, because it is fan-freaking-tastic, and The Rain is, you know, just as good, if not better. It's just, I freaking love it. Virginia Bergin has written an amazing, amazing story. If you don't know what it's about, H2O begins with, it's basically an apocalypse story, and it starts raining and people die, and then they realize that the rain has like this virus bug thing, and it literally just kills everything in its path. You just need one singular drop of rain and it will kill you, and you know, then rain goes into the water supply and people start, you know, dying of thirst, and it's just really, really, really insane, like everything that's happening in the book, and it's really, really good. The main character, her name is Ruby, is hilarious, and she starts losing her mind, and so it just makes for a really, really interesting book and plot and story, and I cannot wait to finish it. I'm like 30% of the way done with it right now, so I still got a ways, but I am really, really loving it so far. Alright, so that is the end of my weekly wrap-up for October week 1 and 2. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!